There's so many games in the NFL, college football, high school football, whatever, that it's not necessarily the other team winning it, it's you losing the game. And the Broncos are hurting themselves to the point that it's actually causing them to lose games.
All right, welcome back to another show of Broncos X's and O's. I am one of your hosts, Benny Fowler. We have Dave Logan, and we have a special guest to start the show off, Justin Simmons. How long did you play for the Broncos? 7 years?
8 years.
8 years, Broncos safety, all pros, Pro Bowls, has picked off Patrick Mahomes the most of any other defender. Good friend, a teammate of mine for a year, and somebody I have a tremendous amount of respect for. Dave, what do you have to say about Justin?
Well, I tell you what, I called every one of his games, and what I admire most, and everything you said about Justin is true, was a great player, but what I admire most was how he was available after games to answer questions. I mean, a lot of guys, we've all played in the league. Those are not easy things to do, and sometimes you're going to get questions that you don't like. This guy was always available and accountable, and I appreciated that.
Love that. Justin, man, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Man, I gotta deflate my head real quick from you guys hyping me up, but I'm doing well. I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me on, Dave and Benny. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Let's just jump right into it, man. This is a Broncos show, and we are breaking down the Broncos game from yesterday. They played the Chargers, a division opponent. You know, they've gotten off to a great start. The Chargers are now 3-0 in the AFC West. You know, 3 division games to start the season. Would love to know your initial thoughts about the game.
Yeah, it's a tough loss. Obviously, they always say, like, don't let your last game lull you in, like, bring it into the next one. And I think I thought they went off to a hot start. I thought, obviously, like with the defense, like the Chargers, it's going to be hard to move the ball consistently. But I think no turnovers, was a positive there. And I just towards the end of the game, you gotta find a way to win it. And I'm always like, I'm a defensive guy, right? So like, I'm just thinking right after the game, like Dave was talking about, you got to be available for the media. What are you going to go into and say? And like, as a defensive guy, like I'm always going to put the onus on the defense. And I don't care who's playing quarterback. I don't care what our offense looks like. I don't care the numbers. But that's 2 games in a row where like defensively, they gave up the last drive for the go-ahead field goal, go-ahead touchdown, whatever it is. And like, I think back on games when I've played in Denver, scores would be 10-7, and it's still the defense's fault. We gave up that last drive, that last possession that gave them the go ahead. And so, but that's my opinion. That's just how I think. But I think, and especially with all the talent that they have on defense, I know those guys are preaching, we got to close out games because they're a great room.
You know, one of the things, Justin, when you look back at yesterday's game, the Chargers had, I believe it was 80 snaps of offense, and the Broncos had 48. And so part of that was because Denver couldn't convert on third down, right? Couldn't find a way to stay in the game. You stay on the field, I should say. You've been involved in games like that. How difficult, and I know you're paid to do it, but how difficult is it from a mindset as a defensive player when it's a game like that, a lopsided game in terms of how much time the opposition stays on the field?
Yeah, it's huge. I know one of Sean's the biggest thing when he preaches, and I was with him only for a year, but man, third down is huge. Like offense and defense, like third down, it's almost like the hidden stat behind the game of wins and losses. And I think that played a huge role also in Sunday's game against the Chargers. But like I said, man, from a defensive standpoint, it's so easy to get caught up in like all the preseason hype and all the success from last year and being the number 1 team in pressures, number 1 team in sacks. Obviously, Pat winning Defensive Player of the Year. Like, there's just so much onus on this defense is going to be great. This defense is going to be great. This defense is going to be great. And they can still be the best defense in the league. And I think you see glimpses of that when they're out there playing. It's just putting it all together and realizing that every single year it's a tough task to execute and to perform at that level. And it's why it's rarely done. So, but I have all the faith in those guys, man. Like, I've been in that room, not with every single person, but enough of them to know that they have the makeup to get it done. And I've trusted VJ. Obviously, he's been my head coach. He's been a DC, and I just think the world of him. So I think they're gonna turn it around. I think their schedule gets a little bit tougher, but they're built for that. And from a defensive standpoint, you just got to own the fact that, if you are going to be the best, you got to be the best and close out. Doesn't matter what the offense does. But that's, again, just my opinion, the way that I carry it.
Justin, when I hear you talk, I think of accountability, and I think of some of the best defenses I played with here in Denver. The first 3 years I played here in Denver, actually the last 3 years I played in Denver, the defense was just okay my rookie year, but then also the defense in New Orleans was pretty good. I think about accountability and player accountability. Sometimes you can talk about the coaches and they got to fix things, but player accountability. You as a rookie got a chance to play with Aqib Talib and guys like Chris Harris. How would they approach this now? Because the last 2 weeks, yes, you've put some more on the defense. You don't want them to give up anything. You talk about them being a top 5 defense right now. They're not looking like that, especially last game. More so, I thought they played really well this game. But how would those types of leaders, and even yourself who's put the C on his chest before, how would you approach these meetings as a player? And what do you say to the younger guys who are maybe missing some things or not flying around to the ball, or most importantly, the penalties that have happened?
Yeah, the penalties, those are tough. And there's some penalties, right? Like, where it's like you're both being competitive and, it doesn't go your way. Like, you could take those, but when you get with the offsides or the unnecessary roughness and you're dipping into those types of penalties, those are things that are avoidable, right? And those will get cleaned up. But man, that's what I learned. That's where I learned it from. Like, anything that I've had success-wise in my career has all been a credit to the people that I've played with and I've been coached by. And so you just hit it like Aqib, Chris, TJ, Darian Stewart. I got to play with DeMarcus Ware for a year, obviously Von Miller, Derek Wolfe. Like, I could just keep naming Brandon Marshall, like guys, Todd Davis, just left and right, who were always so accountable. And like, I remember asking when I first got here, I asked TJ and I asked Stu, I was like, at what point in the season last year, that would have been the year you guys won the Super Bowl, did you guys ever like pout or point the finger or anything? Because the offense at times lulled and just didn't move the ball, score points, but the defense always, every single game, came out and executed. It was like one of the coolest things to watch as a fan, getting ready to come into the league. And they're like, absolutely not. Like, if anything, like, how bad do you really want to win? Like, are you just want to win where your stats are good enough and you guys competed well enough so that the talking heads in the sports world are going to say, oh, they did just enough to find a way to win. This is on the offense. Or do you actually want to go win a championship? And that's the way that they attacked practice. That's the way that they attacked the game day. And they were like, if they're not going to score, we're going to score. Like, if they need a short field, we'll get the interception and give them a short field. Like, that was just the mindset they had. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen because I've never been a part of that before. And it's no wonder that was one of the best defenses to ever touch the football field. And so I've learned so much from those guys, but I think that's the mindset, right? It's like, is our offense going 3 and out, 3 possessions in a row? It doesn't matter. Like, we can get an interception. We're good enough up front to get a strip sack fumble and to set our offense up on a short field. We're good enough in the secondary to get a big hit or an interception to set us up for a short field. And I think, like, that's the mindset. And again, I know I'm rambling, but I think that's what this team has. And but you just got to show it on Sunday.
Hey, Justin, final thought for me. You had a great career in Denver. I think you're one of the most popular players with respect to the fans. You haven't signed to go back into the NFL. You've had opportunities to do so. Have you sort of come to the point in your career where you're not sure you want to play, or is it you're not sure you want to play with certain teams and you want a chance maybe to get back in with the right team, or are you pretty much done?
Yeah, I'm not sure I want to play for certain teams. And that's with all due respect. I realized like I'll be 32 in November. Obviously age always plays some type of role in the NFL, and there's, certain teams have a certain outlook in terms of your value, and then you have a certain outlook on yourself on what you think your value is. There's always that battle, but I definitely want to play. I want to play for a championship contending team. One of my biggest, I don't have regrets, but one of my biggest ones in Denver was not getting to the postseason. And so I never got to experience a playoff game. Was hoping Atlanta last year we're going to have that chance, but just fell short. So really being methodical and taking my time and choosing the right team. And obviously they got to choose me back. And so we'll see where that comes, but I'm staying patient, staying ready. And I want to be able to contribute to a team to go win it all.
And you're working on your golf game, which, I think you're a little scared to play me, but we'll put that off aside right now.
One way to find out.
Yeah, exactly. Last question, Justin, and really appreciate you joining Dave and myself. You talked about Atlanta. You played in Atlanta last year. You guys played the Broncos. What was the scouting report on Bo? And then also just this offense. Sean is very creative. He likes to move things around. There's a lot of motion, a lot of different personnels. But, obviously, respectfully, what was the scouting report on Bo and who he was as a quarterback at that time? And just what did you think of the Chargers' overall game plan yesterday to, try to speed him up a little bit?
Yeah, it's with a guy like Bo. So going into that week when I was with Atlanta, like just letting these guys know, like obviously I haven't had a chance to play with Bo, but watching the film, knowing Sean, it's like there's going to be a bunch of different personnels, and it's like telling them like focus on the look, not who's there. Like they're just blank faces. Like, and you tend to get a lot of those plays in different personnel packages because it forces the defense to go base or nickel, which is an extra DB, or dime, which is like an extra DB linebacker. And like but they're the same plays for the offense. And so they operate at a faster pace and a faster rhythm, and they're looking at the same things. And it can be overwhelming for a defender. So, like, I remember that being, like, the biggest key point. And with Bo, man, I think, like, he's so athletic, and he's so, he reads things really quick, and he's just so decisive with the football. And I think he's learning right now, like, trusting guys to be where they're going to be. Like, that's why you see Cortland. And I know that didn't happen in the Indy game, but, like, you see with Cortland, like, so many targets, and he trusts him, right? We're seeing Troy Franklin becoming more involved. Like he's starting to get that rhythm with him and trusting him to be where he's supposed to be. But that was like our scouting report going into Atlanta. It was just like, hey, this guy's athletic. Try to keep him in the pocket. Not saying that he can't stay in there and make the throws, because obviously he can. But we don't want him to get out, run around, make plays with his legs, run for first downs. Then guys leave their assignments early, and then guys are open down the field. That's the last thing you want, right? And I thought the Chargers did a pretty good job at that, just making sure that he wasn't running as much, right? With guys like that, they're still going to find ways to get out. But that was the biggest scouting report. Obviously, we didn't do a good job with that last year in Atlanta. Don't need to bring that up. But yeah, I think there's so much going on there. It could be difficult for a defense to contain all those things. But the Chargers, when they needed to, did a good job and took the deep shots away and just tried to make them methodically make drives down the field, 12, 15-yard play drives, and sometimes they just couldn't do it. So that's a tough one.
Everybody, that is Justin Simmons, man. Really appreciate you, man. Continue to train hard. I hope you land on a great team, man, and you get a chance to go win a ring, man. It's always great to see you, and really appreciate you joining us.
Thanks, Justin.
Yeah. Hey, thanks, guys, for thinking of me and bringing me on. It was an honor, seriously, so appreciate you.
Absolutely,
appreciate you.
Man. All right, talk soon. The big box of nachos with 2 times the protein is back, just in time for football season. The big box of Grande nachos is loaded with warm and crispy tortilla chips, loaded with 2 portions of slow-roasted chicken or seasoned beef, along with refried beans, warm nacho cheese, shredded blend of mozzarella, pepper jack, and cheddar cheese, freshly pared pico de gallo, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole made with Hass avocado. Nothing beats this power pack lineup. And if you have a group, Throw in a few buff boxes with 4 Taco Bell classics and a player collectible cup for only $7 to satisfy your Taco Bell crave. This is the best deal in all of Colorado. Taco Bell is a proud sponsor of CU Athletics and is donating $1,000 to the Golden Buff Scholarship Foundation for every CU touchdown scored in 2025. Go Buffs and live Moss. Right now at Bet365, they have great offers available for Broncos fans. They have their Thursday night football offer, which is $10 safety net bet. They have their Sunday night football offer, which is a $365,000 jackpot. Place a $10 bet on the first touchdown score and get a split of $365,000 in bonus bets if your player scores the final touchdown of the game. Also, the Bet365 early payout offer, you're a winner if your team goes up by 17 points with an instant payout of straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. Download the app and use the code DNVR365 when you sign up. Breaking news from Bet365, new customers now get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use the code DNVR365, deposit $10 and place a bet for $5 to get $200 in bonus bets. If your bet wins or loses, bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Disclaimer, must be 21 years or older, physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. Well, that was really good to hear from Mr. Justin Simmons.
He's a quality guy.
Really quality guy, really thoughtful. Obviously, he's very smart. I think one of the things that really stood out was the trust factor, and I didn't really take that into account. So I know we're going to jump into the game right now, but Dave, how was your weekend in LA?
I've had better weekends. I've had better flights home, for sure. No, it was a frustrating game, and they've had 2 back-to-back frustrating road losses in games that, the Indianapolis game, they absolutely should have won that game. And the Chargers game, it played out a little bit different, but they could have won that game. And you and I both know it is so tough to win on the road. And now you've given these 2 opportunities basically away because of sort of how you played in that game.
100%. Yeah, tough weekend in L.A. I was actually in L.A., went to L.A. Friday.
Well, how was your weekend in L.A.?
It wasn't good. I had some really good pasta, but it was not good. Michigan State was playing USC.
That
night
didn't turn
game.
out very
That
good.
didn't turn out.
Yeah.
That didn't turn out good.
Did you get a chance to lead the team
No.
out of the locker room?
No. I had only one field pass, and I brought my wife, and I'm like, I can't go into the field without my wife. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to take it in like a casual.
That's a smart move on your part.
Yeah, so doing that. But, yeah, definitely not a good weekend for the Broncos, Michigan State, out in L.A. But, there's always some positives, negatives in each game. So, yeah, we'll dive into this. But if you could subscribe, or not subscribe, but if you could describe this game in one word, what's your word?
Oh, man, I only get one word.
Or a sentence.
Frustrating. Frustrating. And in a sentence, they didn't take advantage of opportunities. And you look at this game, and we were talking to Justin. The Chargers had 80 snaps of offense. The Broncos had 48.
Yeah.
You say, well, how could that be? Well, the Denver was 2 of 13 on third down.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to, I think you have to drill down a little bit deeper than that. 2 of 13, you say, well, they've got to be better on third down. Chargers were 8 of 17. Okay. 10 of those 13 opportunities on third down, the Broncos were in 3rd and 8 or more. 3rd and 8 plus. You can't, in the NFL for sure, even college football or high school football, you can't make a living if you're in 3rd and long that many times. Mm-hmm. So then you go back and you continue to drill down. How did you get to 3rd and long? You get a holding call on 1st and 10. You get a sack on 2nd and 10. And so I went back and looked at the game. I thought the Chargers were pretty active up front. I think you have to give that team credit, I think, from a physical standpoint. And I thought that everybody's, not everybody, but a lot of people upset with how Bo's playing and the accuracy thing, and we can talk about that. But I think it's important to go back and look at that game critically. There was a lot of color around Bo Nix early in that game, and it looked sort of like that color, which was the color of the home team's jerseys. I thought they made him move around. I thought at times he looked like a miller moth in a stiff breeze, right? I mean, he's bouncing. He's like, trying to get out of. So it's easy for me to go back and look at the film and say, hey, you got to get that quarterback settled down. You've got to give him some throws, get the ball out of his hands. I mean, those guys make a lot of money, and they know all that. But I thought the Chargers were good at disrupting the Broncos' entire offense early in that game.
You talked about it last week. Chargers, are going to make you buckle up your chin strap, and that's exactly what I saw up front. When I think about the one word to me that I describe this game, I go to execution. And if I had to put a sentence to it, is that the better team executed when it mattered. And you brought up some important things, and I wrote down some notes from just watching the offensive film this morning. You talked about the third downs.
Yep.
You got 7 third downs where it's 3rd and 10 plus. You have 7 second downs where it's 2nd and 10 plus. You can't win games like that. As great as a play caller as Sean is, it is hard to call plays where you're executing where you're executing on 2nd and 20, 3rd and 19. They call a flea flicker, which is an incredible play call, but that's a Hail Mary. You can't call plays like that all the time. Then you talk about the 10 penalties for 90 yards. But then there are plays, people talk about the missed opportunities for Bo, which we'll dive into. But then, as you know, not only as a coach, but then also more importantly as a player, there are plays where there was a completed pass or Bo was getting ready to make the right read, but there's somebody in his face. Or I wrote down here, 3rd and 11, screen to R.J. Harvey, only completed for 2 yards. 3rd and 10 plus, 3rd and 10 plus, they completed R.J. Harvey, but Trent Sherfield and Adam Trotman both missed the block. They had it blocked up. They had 3-on-3 blocked up. R.J. Harvey could
looked like it was going to go a long ways.
Yeah, but this is where, if you have to have the coach's film or you have to know that how these plays are set up, where the Broncos missed these opportunities. So execution, and the Chargers we have to give them credit. Justin Herbert is playing some really great ball right now.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the Broncos defense, I thought they got after him. He had a lot of color around him as well.
Yep.
He's an accurate thrower. I was down on the field before the game, and I was just I was amazed how big this dude is. Like you and I were talking before we came on the air, he dwarfs me. And I'm 6'5" and probably 230. He's 6'6" and like 240, but really has, I think, unusually good athletic ability for an athlete that size. We all know he can throw it. But you think about that, and yet the Chargers had 13 points with 4 minutes to go in the game.
Yeah.
And they had 80 snaps of offense.
Yeah.
So
29 first downs.
29 first downs. 6 of those were due to Broncos penalties. So, we haven't talked about that. They've got to, and again, I'm not telling them anything they don't know. They're sitting out there now, those coaches probably in a dark room, drinking their 5th cup of coffee, and they got in about 4:30 this morning, trying to figure out how to do it. But they've got to get the penalty thing fixed, like, right now. Sometimes the other team will make a play. Sometimes the other team's a little bit better. And so from a scheme standpoint, you look at stuff, you prepare all week. But the penalty thing has got to get fixed immediately. You cannot have as many pre-snap penalties and lining up in the neutral zone. They gave them a first down on 4th and 4 after they forced a 3 and out.
Yep.
You can't, you just can't do those things. And I'm sure they'll get that fixed soon.
But where do those things get fixed and how do they get fixed? I'm trying to think about the coaches that I've played for and how they fix those things. because they don't make you, coaches in the NFL don't make you do conditioning. You're not doing conditioning. You're not doing gassers for penalties after a game. It's already hard enough to go through a game. Guys are sore the next day. How do those things get corrected? You can't just go and bench people. Coaches that you played for?
Yeah.
How did they correct penalties?
Well, the coaches I played for, my first coach in the NFL was Forrest Gregg, who played for Vince Lombardi. He was a Hall of Fame offensive tackle, big, strong coach. And what he would do is he had a little bit of, you think about Jimmy Johnson when he took over as the Cowboys. And Jimmy Johnson is famous for being asked, he cut a player, absolutely cut a player who fell asleep in a meeting. Right? Walked up and said, get out, and he got cut. And he was asked about if Michael Irvin or one of the great players had fallen asleep, and Emmitt Smith had fallen asleep in a meeting. What would you have done? And Jimmy Johnson, and I'm paraphrasing here, said, I would have walked up to Emmitt Smith and I would have tapped him on the shoulder and said, you know what, wake up. Yeah. But he's not going to cut him.
Right.
So Forrest Gregg, in situations like that, you'd lose your job if you were not one of those guys. I think you stress to the players the importance of not giving games away, right? There's so many games in the NFL, college football, high school football, whatever, that it's not necessarily the other team winning it, it's you losing the game. And the Broncos are hurting themselves to the point that it's actually causing them to lose games. They lost the game in Indy more so than the Colts won it. Mm-hmm. And the Chargers were good yesterday, but the Broncos could have won that game, and I think were involved in losing the game every bit as much as the Chargers were in winning the game.
100%. You think about the Nick Bonito, offsides can't happen. The Troutman, offsides can't happen.
You line up in the neutral zone.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And you're the point. You're in a 3-point stance. So it's just, I think it's having a situational awareness of where you are and what a play calls for, and just getting lined up right. Face mask penalty on offense. Just things that sometimes you're going to get beat by the guy across from you, or sometimes the scheme, the play call runs right into the teeth of the defense, and that sort of stuff is going to happen. But the self-inflicted wounds, they got to find a way to eliminate those.
100%. I think even the Troy Franklin pick play, Troy, this I think is going to come with experience. You should know based off of the coverage and the way that they're playing the stack, you do not have to push this guy.
No.
You pause a little bit, you take your burst release
That's
outside,
right.
Push up, and then you actually should know that you're getting the ball on this one.
You're going to get, especially down to the goal line, 100 times on that play, they're going to flag you for that.
Yep.
You can't block a defender trying to free up one of your receiving mates, right? Mm-hmm. But you can, just disguise it. You can just get in the guy's way.
Yep.
So it's just, again, having an awareness of that situation and what you can do, and being able, the game, the crowd was loud. That was a loud crowd, and it was hot, and things get going fast, and so you got to have guys, and I think the Broncos have these guys, but you got to have guys that can process stuff quickly and then, play up to the moment.
Yep.
And there were a handful of times yesterday that didn't happen.
I like that, play up to the moment. We talked a little bit about coaching. Coaching is obviously very important. We've talked about the mistakes made in terms of penalties. Let's calm Broncos country down a little bit in our DMVR fam.
Good luck on that one.
Let's calm them down a little bit, because I actually thought I was giving Sean a lot of heat last night after the game, more so on the penalties and the discipline. But I thought offensively he actually called a really good game. Can you talk a little bit about what you saw on offense in terms of the play calls that were executed, but then there were some that weren't executed where there were plays open,
yeah.
If you block, if the protection is better. Bo obviously has to hit some players, and then some players have to make plays. They're not either blocking the right guy or they're not hitting the right hole in the run game.
Yep.
Talk about Sean, calm people down in terms of Sean and his play calling ability, because they're calling right now for Davis Webb to call plays, and I'm letting people know that he actually called a really good game yesterday, and there were some players running wide open on some plays.
Yeah, I think the Davis Webb thing you understand because Davis Webb called one of the preseason games, and the Broncos' offense looked good.
Yeah.
So when that happens, in the back of fans' minds, they're like, okay, that Davis Webb guy has a pretty good feel for what this offense should look like.
Against man-to-man in the preseason.
Right. Convoluted, sort of watered-down defensive. You don't get anything looking like anything of a regular season defense in the preseason.
Yeah.
That should be noted. I think, again, I'd go back to let's just, off the top of my head, take the first series. The Broncos, they get a third down and short. You get a tight bunch to the left side, and they run just a little zone beater.
Yep.
And Bo's got Lucas Kroll. You just got to put the ball on him. So Bo was a little bit. Now I don't know if Bo anticipated Kroll not hooking up and kind of sliding more. He had a safety driving down on the play, and so it had to be on time and it had to be accurate. It had to hit him between the 8 and the 5. The ball took him a little bit upfield, and it was an incomplete pass. So that's a 3 and out.
Yep.
If that ball is, and it's a throw Bo can make. If that ball is delivered on target, you got a first down. And now you get, at least 3 more snaps, and you start to develop a little bit of rhythm. Second series, you get a holding call on a run play on first down. Now you're 1st and 20. And again, you and I talked about this a little bit last week. First down and 20, when you're 1st and 20 at any time in a series, your chance of picking up a first down are less than 6%. So, occasionally you're going to do it. You get a big play, whatever. But, again, self-inflicted wounds. I think from a schematic standpoint, going back and looking at it, I thought the Chargers were really active up front.
Very.
Right?
Very.
Slants, a few twists. They, sometimes you see NFL games and you're like, these guys really don't want to be here. They're kind of going through the motions. That was not the case yesterday for the Chargers.
Yeah.
They were very excited on defense to be playing the Broncos. And so they knocked the Broncos back a little bit, not from a physical standpoint, but you just had, on run plays, it seemed like you had an unblocked hat. Can't tell if that's the scheme or maybe the Chargers dialed something up. I thought they were aggressive at times. The Broncos got in a heavy run set, and then you get Derwin James coming in the C gap and blowing up Dobbins from the backside. Okay, is that James, who's prone just to sort of do things on his own, seeing that and just making a move, or was it dialed up? But I thought the Chargers defense, especially early in that game, really frustrated the Broncos offense.
Frustrated, and I think Bo was frustrated. I want Sean to help Bo out a little bit more. I'm sick of Bo, I'm sick of Bo watching him break the huddle and go like this.
Hurry up, snap the ball.
Hurry up, snap the ball. That means the play call is not getting in there. And obviously Sean has got all of these different personnels. I want to see Cortland and Marvin and Troy just stay out there for a whole series. We're wholesale changing all the time. And one of the things that I wrote down on my notes is rhythm and timing.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Thomas didn't really come off the field. When I played here with Demarius and Emmanuel, they didn't come off the field. Now, we would change the slots or we'd change the tight ends, but your main guys, your horses, especially your receivers out there, stay out there. And Justin talked about at the beginning of the show, trust. He's trusting Court. He's trusting Troy. How about we keep more people out there to help him that he's very comfortable throwing to? Lucas Kroll, I thought, that's not somebody he throws the ball a lot to or as at the beginning of the season, but he made the right decision on that money. They call that route money in this offense. You have the option to, burst release out of the bunch. You could break out, in, or sit up, and he made the right decision.
It's an option route.
Yeah, option route. And yeah, Bo's got to doubt him, but I'd like to see more of the personnels out there where Bo can be really comfortable throwing to these guys. Thoughts on that?
Well, to me, I don't disagree. To me, it's all about finding a rhythm, and Bo had such a good rookie season, right? Got off to the slow start. First 2 games, both losses, no touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. Then he has a streak, and then when you look at the end of the season, he's got 29 touchdowns and 12 picks.
Yep.
and throws for over 3,700 yards, right? So I think the expectation level of fans of the Broncos is really high. Mm-hmm. There will be, and I said this before the season started, there will be some significant growing pains in this Bo Nix's second year. That's just that's the way the league is. The league has a full year of tape on Bo Nix with Sean Payton in this offense, and will make adjustments, and they'll try to take away what he does best and force him to do things he doesn't like to do. So what I would like to see is just to get him settled down a little bit. If you go back and look at, the end zone copy, the all-22, man, I mean, early in that game, I'm telling you, I mean, he's stepping up in the pocket from edge pressure, or he's sliding from interior pressure, and then, I mean, he's running for his life. And I'm not blaming, honestly, like the offensive line in its entirety. Sometimes a guy breaks down. It's going to happen. Some of your best offensive linemen are going to get beat from time to time because the athletes on defense are better up front than the athletes on offense. Just the way it is. How do you slow it down? You can run it. They tried to screen. I liked both those screen plays. Both of them could have made more yards. Dobbins slips down on one, and they missed a couple of blocks on the Harvey screen. Again, self-inflicted. But how do you get Bo settled down in the pocket? Run it more effectively. Personally, I would like to see him out of the pocket a little bit, whether on boots. The fourth down conversion to Court in the fourth quarter, that was a boot. He got pulled up because of edge pressure, but he pulls up and throws on the deep over to Cortland for a first down. So, I mean, we have all the answers.
Yeah, it's easy to play Monday morning
We have
quarterback.
all the answers, and if they just call us and ask us, we could come up with it. But listen, it's been frustrating, and I also think this. Sean made the comment in the preseason about he thought this was one of the 7 teams he had coached that had the ability to get to the Super Bowl. Well, and he did that with intention. Mm-hmm. You played for Sean.
Yep.
I know Sean somewhat. He doesn't say much that is not intentional. So, but when you do that, you have to understand that you ratchet up the expectation level dramatically of the fan base. It's like, whoa, really? Okay, everything's going to be great. And the offense is going to be just methodical, move down the field and score, and it's going to be great. We're going to average 38 points a game. The league is not like that. And so
describe a Super. I'll describe some of my Super Bowl teams, but describe a Super Bowl team and what you've seen as a player, and then also covering the game.
Well, I mean, I never. We had one shot, and we got beat by the Raiders in a playoff game. I think that team I played for in Cleveland was probably good enough. I know we were good enough offensively to get there, but we lost to the Raiders in Cleveland, 14-12, and it was I think the second coldest game in league history. Like the wind chill was at 40 below. Not that I would remember, but when you lose a game like that late in the game, you always remember. But I think for me, when you talk about Super Bowl caliber teams. To me, I always start with defense. I think you look at the defense, and are they, the offense, you and I were offensive guys. The offense is a little bit like the stock market. Mm-hmm. It's going to have surges, and then you're going to have lulls, and then you're going to hit dips, and it's going to be, okay, wait, how can we become more consistent? The defense on really good teams is like a sailboat, right? I mean, that thing, you don't get much deviation. You might get, maybe somebody has a tip ball, or maybe somebody gets hurt and the backup guy is not quite as good in that. But the defense has to be consistently good to great. And I think the defense yesterday was good enough for the Broncos to get a win. They were not good enough the week before in Indianapolis. They certainly were good enough against Tennessee in the opener, right? So they've had two of 3 games that they've played what I think is good enough football to win. But now you got to play in concert where both sides, in special teams, they've got to pick things up on special teams too. But all 3 phases, but we're talking offense and defense. We haven't seen a complete game where both sides played good enough to win.
100%. When I think, the expectations are obviously there because of what Sean said, and then also calling Bo a top 4, top 5 quarterback, and that he will be. So the fan expectations go there, but I would want the fans to also pay attention to the quarterbacks that have played in this town that have been top 4, top 5 quarterbacks in the league, and then also the Super Bowl teams. I played on 3 teams where at the beginning of the season it would have been a failure if this team didn't win a Super Bowl. My rookie year, the Broncos, we were coming off of the loss to Seattle in the Super Bowl, but Peyton threw 40 touchdowns that year. He was in year 17. You had just signed DeMarcus Ware, Aqib Talib, T.J. Ward, Emmanuel Sanders in that free agency class. Really good free agency class, but the most important thing was also that quarterback and that leadership. And then my second year in the league, we won the Super Bowl, but the defense was the best defense in the league. And you talk about that defense being steady, and you talk about that defense being a Super Bowl defense, they were scoring points. They were getting turnovers. They were forcing fumbles. They were taking pick sixes in game 1, pick 6 against the Raiders, scoop and score, obviously a sack fumble to start the Super Bowl. So I think about that team, and then I think about my New Orleans team in 2020. Drew Brees was in year 20. Michael Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders, Jared Cook, Alvin Kamara, Latavius Murray, Cam Jordan, Demario Davis.
That's a squad.
Marcus Williams, Janoris Jenkins, Marshawn Lattimore. Those are Super Bowl rosters, along with Sean Payton. So Sean has the intention and vision of this being a Super Bowl team, but very far off from the rosters that I just talked about in terms of players, and then also players making big-time plays. Demaryius Thomas can have 1,000 yards with any type of quarterback. Peyton obviously wasn't playing the best that year, but he still, from his mind standpoint, had seen the game. He was in year 18. So I think about those things, and there is no substitute for experience. And I was saying this yesterday: you got to go through it to get to it.
Yeah, I see. I think Sean, when he mentioned that this was one of 7 teams that he thought could get to the Super Bowl, I'm pretty sure he did that intentionally. But I think it was in an effort to infuse confidence into this young team from an experience standpoint. Young quarterback for sure. Relatively new staff. I think whether it was smart or not, I think is open to debate. Whether you agree with it or not, open to debate. But I think it was in an effort by him to infuse confidence into the team and say, listen, I see greatness in you. I'm not sure you see greatness, but I want you to take another look at what we have here. I'm telling you, we can do great things here. I don't hate the idea. I don't. But when you have a couple of tough losses and you don't play as well as you had hoped to, and you have way too many penalties, then fans who have heard you say, I think this is a Super Bowl team, and they were ready to have a 15-2 season, even though that's quite unrealistic, then at 1-2, they're like, oh, damn. Well, I mean, these guys suck. Right. You know what I mean? But they're ready to run through the wall head first. So I get it. It's a long season. Yes, these last 2 games, the Broncos in Indy should have won. Yesterday in L.A. could have won, but they didn't. Now we got to wait and see kind of how they put things back together. Hey, let me ask you, are you a parent of a 4th to 8th grade kid, or are you somebody who's listening who wants to play in a great competitive basketball league right here in Colorado? You can sign up for a Gold Crown basketball league today. Now, the Gold Crown Foundation was started by Bill Hanslick, former Nugget player and Nugget head coach many years ago, and it still continues to be a staple of our community today. They have divisions for 4th through 8th grade teams. They have feeder teams for high schools and gold, silver, and bronze divisions, which means you can play in both high school gyms and at the Gold Crown Fieldhouse. Gold Crown also has leagues in volleyball, golf, and flag football. It's a nonprofit organization that serves over 18,000 kids annually in the Denver metro area. It's also a great way for kids to have fun playing sports while also playing in a competitive environment that's going to help them if they want to keep playing sports in high school and potentially beyond. You can learn more and sign up by scanning the QR code on screen or visiting goldcrownfoundation.com.
Volo Sports is Denver's most popular provider of adult sports leagues, pickup games, and events. Their sports offered included soccer, volleyball, pickleball, kickball, basketball, cornhole, and many more. Playing with Volo is a great way to meet new people, make friends, and be social. Stay or get more active in a fun way, and mix up your after-work routine. They have leagues all throughout the city in Lodo, Rhino, Highlands, City Park, Cherry Creek, South Broadway, and more. Maybe you played a sport in high school and want to pick it up again. Maybe you were an intramural star in college. Maybe you are a former NFL receiver and you need to get in shape again. Players can sign up as a free agent, small group, or full team, and all ability levels and backgrounds are welcome to join. Use code DNVR10. $10 off any Volo Denver League. Well, let's jump into some film. Dave and I are getting ready to look at some film of the 3 missed overthrows by everybody, or, by Bo. And Dave, I want to know what you think. So we got the 3rd and 19. Flea flicker
Just a
play
flea flicker, right?
here. Yep.
Let's do. I tell you what, it was schemed up.
Great play call.
The one thing on 3rd and 19, you're not going to get heavy pressure.
Yep.
So they're able to block it up.
Decent pocket.
You can see the Chargers all day long really use the spy technique. In that case right there, they had double spies.
Yep.
But this is a play that goes off the fingertips of Marvin Mims. Again, I'm probably more critical of receiver play than other positions because that's the position I played in the league. But when a ball, I've always believed this, when a ball goes off the hands of a receiver, and the receiver did not lay out, then that's a play, that's a missed opportunity, and that's a play that, in hindsight, the receiver's got to lay out.
Yep.
I mean, if you're running full speed, and Mims was running as fast as he could, and you extend your hands, right, and that ball goes off your fingertips, and you don't catch it, then to me, that's a ball that you would have been better served laying out for at the last minute.
I 1,000% agree with you. I'm definitely tougher on receivers just because I was taught playing with young quarterbacks, Trevor Siemian being one, Paxton Lynch being one, Daniel Jones being one. Tyke Tober was my receiver coach. He would always say, you got to make the young quarterback right. Sometimes you have to go make the play. Yeah, there might be a little heat on it, but he's in year 2. You got to go make this play. Marvin has this defender beat. Bo is getting ready to launch this ball. I think it's hard to run like this. What do you think about, and I've said this last night, that I think Marvin should put his head back down for a couple more yards. Once you see the ball is in the air, he does this with punt return, so I know he can do it.
Yeah.
Put his head down, run a few more yards because you can run faster when your head is going straight. It's hard to run full speed looking back at the ball.
Yeah, I think ideally, I wouldn't disagree. I think it is really tough, and Mims is a young receiver. I think it's really tough for a young receiver to have the confidence that as he's running and he locates the ball in the air, now he's going to take his eyes off that ball, look straight ahead, and run faster, and then look back and try to locate it. So I think in my book, that's a tough ask. I would not encourage a young receiver to do that. Now, what you say is after you look back and locate the ball, you're still running. I don't want to see your arms come out until that ball is starting to come down, right? I mean, you're running, you're pumping, you're running as hard as you can. I just think, again, in hindsight, if Marvin lays out for this ball, I think the chances are better than 50-50 that he makes the catch.
Well, I stand corrected. I think,
No.
I agree.
It doesn't mean I'm right and you're wrong. I'm just saying I would have a hard time, again, looking back, because when the ball's in the air, you're not instantaneously sure that thing is overthrown. You can see it coming. Now as you're running and you can see the trajectory, the flight of the ball, now it's like, this thing looks like it's going to be a little bit too far. But I just would never teach a receiver to take his eyes, once that ball is airborne and you look back and you're tracking that. I mean, the important thing, the great receivers have just the unique ability to track the ball in flight.
Yep.
And it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. But again, I think had Marvin, hindsight being 2020, had he laid out, I think his chances of catching that ball are better.
Yeah, just a missed opportunity here. The Broncos had plenty of other opportunities. So we'll go to the next play. So we got a 2nd and 8 right here. And this is the double move. I think it's a great play call. Marvin's got the basic pump in the slot. Thoughts on this missed throw? I said this earlier, like when you make that double move, putting your head down after you make the move and getting past a defender and then looking for the ball. But it's easier said than done, obviously, just from the vantage point that we're just watching this.
Yep.
But your thoughts on this play right here?
Well, for people that can see this, run this back. Number one, Bo, because of edge pressure, has to climb that pocket. When he does, he climbs it right into a smack in the pie hole.
Yeah.
So he's got to stop it right there. So he's letting that ball go right now with a blue jersey in his face, and Marvin has not even cleared the second level defender on the what I call a nod. So he's having to anticipate. You don't want to underthrow it. He's having to anticipate with the guy in his face, like what angle is Marvin coming out? Is he coming out steep? Did he get a clean release on the second defender? That's a hard throw for sure, and you don't want to underthrow it, but as you run it, you'll see Marvin comes out of that. Now, do you see when Marvin clears that defender? I think ideally you want to wrap that thing a little bit, and instead of continuing on a pure vertical from the top of the numbers, you want to wrap that thing and bend that thing back because you've got, safety's divided. You've got wide open in the middle of the field. So I'm not in the film room with these guys. My guess would be that Bo anticipated Marvin doing just that and bending that thing in a little bit. But I think it's an example of how close these guys are to making some plays that would have been the absolute difference in the game.
And, this is one of the best things about film. And I was, if Joe Lombardi and Sean are watching this film or Davis Webb are watching this film, that's exactly what they're saying. We are close. Opportunities.
Yep.
But people will blame Bo, or the media will blame, or fans will blame Bo right here without seeing that person who's the ball's in the air. He actually made the throw. He had the perfect timing, and he had the anticipation, which is one of the hardest things to do in the NFL is to anticipate. And he actually made this throw, but the timing and rhythm in this offense just have to get on the same page. So, missed opportunity right there. And then we got the 3rd and 10 play, the shot play, which I thought was dialed up. You got a bench pump right here, this cover 3 corner right here. And Cortland runs right past the defender. They had been setting this up all game, running these different bench routes and completed a couple. And Cortland had a great game. But, now
Cortland goes airborne for this. That's an unreal effort. And I think now this would be the one throw that I think, again, and everything in hindsight. But if Bo hitches one more time, just quick hitches, he's got the safety covering the number 2 receiver on the deep over.
Yep.
So right now that this safety, who's right on the Charger emblem, that safety is not going to be able to help that corner right on the double move.
Yep.
So, again, hindsight being 2020, that pocket is clean for Bo.
Yep.
And he's hitching up, he's gathering up. I think if he kind of what we used to call ride the pony, you ride the pony in the pocket, you're not necessarily, you're not climbing the pocket. Mm-hmm. You don't have edge pressure. You can sit there in your feet. One more quick hitch, I think he would see the angle that Cortland comes out of the contest at the 40. And if you see that angle, I think you got a chance to put it right on him.
Yep. What about underthrowing it a little bit?
I wouldn't underthrow that one because Cortland runs right past the corner. Now,
Just because Cortland can go back and get the 50-50 balls. I'm just throwing this out there. I'm not saying
no. I think there are times. I think there are times clearly an underthrow is in play. But to me, if that, we used to say, the wide receivers, the coach would say, if you're even, you're leaving.
Yep.
And Cortland was even, and
yeah, he's got
a step and a half. He's got 2 steps. I mean, by NFL standards, he is wide open.
Yep.
On a deep route. Yeah. I think, again, Bo, and that's what happens, and that's what you have to overcome as young quarterback or veteran quarterback. When you see a lot of color early and you get those feet going every which way because you're trying to get out of harm's way, you're trying to buy yourself some more time, you're trying to extend plays, you're looking, do I escape in the B gap or am I C gap? Do I climb the pocket? If I do, can I then stay in the pocket or do I have to get out? When that stuff happens early, for most quarterbacks, it's so unsettling. But on that throw, again, in hindsight, I think Bo, if he hitches one more quick hitch, he sees the angle that Cortland has, and he puts it on him. And if he does, I mean, that's now you're in scoring position in a 2020 game, and you can then start to run some clock down like we saw the Chargers ultimately do. We got all the answers, Benny.
It's honestly a game of inches, though. And
man, that's what's frustrating about this thing.
To tell Broncos country, and if they see this, they'll get a chance to see some of these things and the in-depth that we just went into. But they literally, I mean, it's not like Bo's not making the right reads. He made correct reads.
Yep.
They missed some opportunities. Now, that could be on him. That could also be on the receiver. That could also be on the offensive line. So I'd like to tell Broncos country, who's super pissed off and wants
go ahead and tell.
Yeah, they want to get rid of Bo. And it's like, relax a little bit. And Dave, you and I have talked about this on KOA, and shout out to KOA. We've talked about this. Sean, teams usually get off to a slow start on offense because of the volume of plays, the volume of personnels. There are just certain things that happen throughout the first 4 weeks of the season. I think Sean will continue to correct. And I actually think that the coaching staff is taking a hard look at themselves right now in terms of how they're coaching. Because if you're not executing up front on the offensive line, if you're not executing at the quarterback position and things are getting overthrown or at the receiver position, that's when you start taking a look at yourself in your position group. And I think Sean might be telling his coaches that today. Look at your room. Everybody assess your room.
Yeah.
It's always a team loss. It's never on one person. I hate when people say that, we're going to blame Bo Nix. You can't just blame one person. You blame the offensive unit because everybody has a hand. There were times where Bo was getting ready to make the right read or made the right read. Somebody was in his face.
Yeah, I think this. I think Sean and the staff will work overtime. They understand. I mean, the Broncos, I think, have a good team. I really do. Have they given away 2 opportunities to get 2 road victories early in the season? They clearly have. And will those 2 games come back and bite them in the ass late in the season? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe so. But I think at times when you're so close, I think the old axiom about, if you're struggling on offense, maybe you simplify things. But when you go back and look at that film, they're so close on some of those big plays. To me, I think if you want to accomplish, you can only accomplish one thing going into that Monday night game against the Bengals. It's how do we get the quarterback settled down a little bit in the pocket early in the game? Is it, the quick series? Is it 3-step drops? Okay. Do we move the pocket, which we've seen? Is it the boot game, which he's really good at, or design pocket move, which they have? Do we beef up? I also think you got to look at and say, we got to get the running game better earlier in the game, because if you do that, then I think the quarterback settles in a little bit. So this is why guys, again, spend 17 hours a day during the week and make a lot of money sitting in a dark room trying to figure out, okay, how do we deal with what we have? And I am still confident they'll figure out a way to do it.
Speaking of the Bengals are coming in here as we move to next week. Bengals are coming in here Monday night. Playing under the lights, national televised game. It won't be the only Monday night game. I think there's another Monday night game, but only one of 2 games next Monday night. Joe Burrow's not playing.
Yeah.
Cincinnati still got some talented players on their team. They just got blown out. They just got embarrassed.
We call that boat raced.
Boat raced. Thoughts on Broncos and how they should approach this? You got a longer week. You got an extra day to prep. I think Sean does come with a simplified game plan, and I think Bo comes out here trying to light things up.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the simplified game plan. Maybe
simplified personnels.
Yeah,
not,
maybe.
Not scheme, but personnels.
You and I would agree that makes sense to us. I don't know for sure if that makes sense to Sean. I mean, you played for him. I didn't. But I think it's a game that the Broncos absolutely have to have. Winning purifies almost everything. When you win a game in the NFL, it's like you can breathe for 24 hours. Players can kind of relax and, go do what they do the night of the game. And coaches can feel good and not go directly from the game back to work. And they can go take their wives out and, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Act human for a while. I mean, winning is the greatest potent in the NFL. So with that acknowledged, however, and the Broncos have to win this game on Monday night, don't think for a minute that Cincinnati, after getting embarrassed on the road, isn't grinding back in Cincinnati trying to figure out a way that they can stay in this game. I mean, I would suspect that Jake Browning, the backup quarterback, will be a lot better this week against the Broncos than he was last week against Minnesota.
Yeah, definitely can't make that mistake. It's funny that you say that about the NFL because it is the truth. I never really understood why everybody was so excited after wins when I first got to the league.
They're hard to come by.
But people would hug, they would hug like it was a playoff game. Because
there's almost a relief, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a huge relief. Huge relief for the coaches, the players. And, my first 2 years, we were 12-4 both years. But the way we would hug after those wins would be like, oh, my gosh. Because you're playing against some of the most elite talent on the other side of the ball. The Broncos better not, and I know Sean won't make the mistake that we made in 2017 when New York lost Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard. And
that was a Monday night game, too.
Yep, Monday night game here. And we end up losing to the Giants. They didn't have their top receivers. I think Evan Ingram played in that game.
He
had a couple catches.
Yes, he did.
But
it'd be nice to see him play Monday night in this game coming 100%. Up, hopefully.
100%. But, yeah, I think, Sean will have these guys prepared. And I think they've been prepared pretty much going into every game. But you have to be able to execute. And I think the details of the quarterback and the receiver, the rhythm and the timing, I think they'll practice that this week. I've had times where I've played with quarterbacks where we weren't hitting on the deep ball, and we would literally practice go routes.
Oh, yeah.
And just Gary Kubiak, we did that maybe with Paxton. Paxton was getting ready to get a start, and we had missed some go routes after one of his starts. And we practiced go routes the entire practice,
well, that
running deep.
Didn't work very well.
No.
Sorry to say, y'all didn't practice hard enough, evidently, or something.
But it wasn't a lack of. It was all the coach did the right thing in terms of putting that into the plan, and even flat routes. I was drifting up on my flat routes against the Chargers. As a coincidence, a couple years ago, or not a couple years ago, but when I was playing here, and we just practiced 2-yard flat routes and making sure you stay flat because
stay parallel.
Because you can. A quarterback will throw a pick six because of that. So Sean will get these things corrected. Bo will get on the same page. That's what I hope, and that's what I know Sean is going to be harping for. But the accountability of the players have to take accountability. Penalties, those
got to get those fixed.
Hufanga, you can't make that mistake.
You know what? And he's been such a good addition to the Broncos. Physical, fast, plays the game the right way. But that was just not a smart play. I remember playing for a coach, and it's a line that I use even as a high school coach, and I'll have to clean it up a little bit. But it's like, listen, man, make sure that you don't get on the dumb SH and then one letter and then T elevator.
Yeah.
Don't get on that dumb elevator. Yeah. And if you do, you know what? Push a button and get off that elevator. You can't stay on that elevator like on every floor going to the top of the hotel. So, yeah, they just did some things that just were not smart in terms of penalties, and they gave the Chargers way too many opportunities.
Well, the Broncos got an opportunity right here on Monday Night Football to change things, and it's always great to win on Monday night in front of the entire country. So, Broncos will get it done. You know, Dave, this was a great second show, man.
Enjoyed it, man.
Yeah, it's always good to see
you. Wait,
man.
Listen, they can call us if they want to.
Yeah.
Hit us
Make
up.
us consultants. Do you want the 17-hour days?
We got.
Do you want to sit next to Sean on the plane?
Nah, listen, my days are long enough coaching high school football, so I'm good. But we've got all the answers.
That was Broncos X's and O's with Vinny Fowler and Dave Logan. Appreciate you guys.
We all silly like the mayor.